What is going on, people? TripleM back again with another video, and tonight we're going to discuss the second part of the full interview that Cristiano Ronaldo did with Piers Morgan that was released earlier this evening. And honestly, this is probably the most eagerly anticipated part of the interview, simply because of the candid opinions on the ownership and the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo directly called out the Glazers, and also the comments that he had to make about Erik ten Hag. But the interview started in a very weird place. It started with Piers Morgan asking about Cristiano Ronaldo's Instagram followers and whether or not he makes more money than he has followers on Instagram. And then his follow-up question was, maybe that's another thing that Rooney's going to be jealous of. So I found that to be very weird. Now, maybe Piers Morgan was being facetious. Maybe he was just having a laugh. Maybe he was just, it was a bit of banter. Who knows? But I found that very strange. A grown man, a 37-year-old man, sitting across from another grown man talking about Instagram followers and how that's going to make his ex-colleague jealous. That sounds a tad bit narcissistic to me, but anyways, moving on. He spoke about why he missed preseason, and that's when the interview started to get a little bit more serious, and I actually started to listen properly and attentively. And he basically said that it was because of one of his children being ill, and he explained that he was never going to come to preseason because it felt like it was unfair on his wife, who obviously had to look after his other kids, but on top of that had to be at the hospital to make sure that her child was okay, and he wanted to be there to support his family. And honestly, I respect that. I really do, because I thought when Ronaldo's unborn child had passed away and he was playing just a week later, I thought that was pretty weird, because I thought he didn't give himself enough time to grieve, and I thought, like, what's wrong with this dude? Like, your family needs you and you're out here playing football. Now, some people will look at that and say, wow, what a professional. Look at what he's willing to do for Manchester United despite what he's just gone through. I don't really see it that way. I think you need to be taking time off. So I'm all for players taking time off, whether it's for mental health, whether it's for family issues, because these guys are not robots. They're not human beings. So big up to Cristiano Ronaldo. Big up, seriously. Well done for actually prioritizing his family, and there's no bad blood there. So I apologize for everything I said, every video I recorded at the time based on the information that was released through the press, because Cristiano Ronaldo didn't say anything at the time. I basically said that he was ducking preseason because he was engineering a move for Manchester United, and I was wrong. So I'm willing to put my hands up and say I apologize. But anyways, moving on, he then spoke about, obviously, when he was talking about preseason, it led into the conversation about him missing games in the season and the incident that happened against Rayo Vallecano on the preseason tour, and then the following incident that happened against Spurs. And basically, Piers Morgan was asking him about whether or not he regrets storming out on both occasions. Now, I think Cristiano Ronaldo misinterpreted the question, because Piers Morgan was asking him about the Rayo Vallecano game and he answered about the Spurs game, so he was confused. So he ended up just answering for both incidents, and he said that he regrets walking out, but at the same time he felt justified in what he did because he felt like Erik ten Hag didn't respect him. Now, in the Spurs game specifically, he said that Erik ten Hag wanted to bring him on with 3 minutes left on the clock, and he felt like that was disrespectful for a player of his quality. He considers himself to still be one of the best players in the world. He doesn't believe that he should be playing for 3 minutes at the end of a game when the team is already 2-0 up. He feels like that's a disrespect on top of not playing and other things that happened behind the scenes, which he didn't mention in the interview. So clearly, there's a lot more going on between Erik ten Hag and Cristiano Ronaldo than what meets the eye. And what's interesting about it is that he actually owned up to the fact that, you know what, he was wrong. He wasn't meant to storm out. He said that he apologized to his teammates, not just on Instagram, but he actually apologized to his teammates and everybody who was affected by it in the immediate circle, which is good. Which is very, very good. That's good to hear, because from the outside looking in, it almost seems as if Cristiano Ronaldo had no remorse. I was actually waiting for these comments to be addressed because I wanted to see what Ronaldo had to say. I wanted to see if he was remorseful. I wanted to see if he was going to apologize, or if he was just going to double down and basically go in on Erik ten Hag and have no respect whatsoever, because that's what Piers Morgan made it seem like. Cleverly, actually. He made it seem a lot worse than it was before the full interview was released. He conveniently put the portion of the quote that made it seem like Cristiano Ronaldo was saying the most horrendous things about Erik ten Hag, right, in the lead up to the interview, which is expected from Piers Morgan. So he basically said that he doesn't respect Ten Hag, but not just for no reason. He doesn't respect Ten Hag because he feels like Erik ten Hag didn't respect him, and he felt betrayed by Erik ten Hag because Erik ten Hag kept saying positive things about Cristiano Ronaldo in the media, but behind the scenes that wasn't the case. So maybe he felt like Erik ten Hag was two-faced. I'm assuming, I'm not, trying to put words in Ronaldo's mouth, but based on what he said, that's what it sounds like to me. Because basically he's saying Erik ten Hag said one thing in the press, but was acting a different way behind the scenes, which, is a two-faced individual, let's be honest. That's basically what he's alluding to there, which is interesting. Because Erik ten Hag is not immune from criticism. I don't agree with airing the club's dirty laundry, and I don't agree with talking about your current employer publicly anyways, but that's besides the point. I'm just trying to be sympathetic of Cristiano Ronaldo, because throughout this entire debacle, I've been very critical of him. So tonight, I'm just trying to put myself in Ronaldo's shoes and see what I agree with, see what I don't agree with. And so far, that makes a lot of sense. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm still on Erik ten Hag's side, and I don't believe Ronaldo should have said that in public, but I get it now, right? With the added context, I get it. I understand it. I don't condone it. I understand it. So anyways, let's move on. He then went on to speak about the Glazers, actually, and he specifically spoke about the Glazers because Piers Morgan asked him about the Glazers, and he basically said they don't care about the club. He said the Manchester United owners don't care about the club. In those words, word for word, verbatim, Cristiano Ronaldo called out the Glazers on, I don't even want to say national television because technically the interview was on YouTube, but on an international platform, he called out the Glazers word for word. He said they do not care about the club. All they care about is marketing and the revenue that comes to the club. And obviously because of that, they will continue to make money. But in terms of being successful on the pitch, they don't care. Now, honestly, big up to Cristiano Ronaldo. Big up to Cristiano Ronaldo. That's a very good point. And I appreciate him saying that publicly because a lot of players in that situation probably wouldn't have the guts to say it. Now, again, we can question his motivations. I, for one, feel like the sincerity of his Glazers out message is ruined by everything else he said in the interview. And I've expressed that opinion throughout the week. Some of you who've been watching all of my videos are probably bored of hearing me say it. So I'm not going to say it again, I promise. But I feel like this interview and this portion of the interview specifically where he's talking about the Glazers would have been so much better received if he didn't go in on Rangnick, if he didn't go in on Rooney, if he didn't go in on Neville, and more importantly, if he didn't talk about Erik ten Hag. If he didn't mention those four people who, by the way, have nothing to do with the Glazers being in charge of the club and are not the reason for the club being bled dry for the last 17 years, I think this would have been much better received. Because again, what's ruined this Cristiano Ronaldo interview is not his comments about the Glazers. Every Manchester United fan who has a better IQ than a brick slab and half a functional brain, not even a full brain. If you have half a functional brain and you're a Manchester United fan, you can recognize, you're intelligent enough to recognize that the Glazers are the problem at Manchester United. So no normal Manchester United fan with a working brain has an issue with any of his comments about the Glazers. It's the other stuff. And it's also the Arsenal fan sitting across from him who's quite clearly just milking this for the views. That's the issue with this interview. And I think the sincerity of his message is lost in all of that. And it's a shame. So, I don't know how to feel. He then went on to talk about the World Cup. He then went on to talk about his relationship with Leo Messi. I honestly don't think those things are really relevant. Some of the stuff he said about Messi is pretty nice. I wish his fanboys would understand that, Leo Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, just enjoy both of them. There's no need to compare them. There's no need to religiously live up one's arse so far up their arse that you can see what they ate for breakfast every morning. You can actually be a Ronaldo fan and respect Messi. You can be a Messi fan and respect Ronaldo. You can be like me, who's neutral, somebody who's in between and just appreciates the both of them because why not, right? Why not? But, I don't think that was really relevant. The parts about the World Cup, it's nice to see that Ronaldo's motivated about the World Cup and that he seems to be in the right headspace going into an international tournament. But I almost can't even feel happy about him for that, considering everything else that's gone on in the interview. It's just a little bit weird. And it doesn't sit well with me that he did this with Piers Morgan. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think that's my biggest pet peeve. Apart from him criticizing Erik ten Hag and some of the stuff he said about Rangnick, which I thought were bang out of order, I think the biggest thing that hurts is him doing this with Piers Morgan, of all people. Like, it was almost like a monologue. It wasn't even an interview. It was basically Piers Morgan being a yes man. He was being a yes man for 2 hours, basically. Yes, Cristiano Ronaldo, I believe you. Next question. On to the next question. Oh, that sounded suspicious, but I'm not going to question it because I'm a Cristiano Ronaldo fan. So, next question. Yeah, next question. No challenging, no fact checking. No, let's go back to what you said earlier in the interview. This doesn't make sense because based on what I know, challenge, right? Like there was none of that. It was just, Ronaldo, do you feel this way? I understand why you feel this way. Oh, I'm with you. I'm in complete admiration of you. I can't believe that young players don't want to learn from you. Why is it that Erik ten Hag doesn't respect you? If I was Erik ten Hag, I would have started you in every single game. If I was Erik ten Hag, I would be respecting you. That's what it felt like. It was just a fanboy having a conversation with his idol, with his god, basically. The statue that he prays to every morning was just with him in person. That's the vibes I was getting from Piers Morgan, and that for me, just instant credibility gone from the interview. I don't know if you guys get what I'm trying to say, but anyways, it's been your boy TripleM. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Leave a like in the video, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Peace.